No, it's my bad. I didn't ask me. I was the one who told you. Sorry.
Okay, how many on the
I request all our guests to please. We're so glad to have Sir here, just 2 days post his cataract surgery, and the executive chairman of Bharat Biotech, a pioneering biotechs. He is best known for leading the development of Covaxin, India's first. Under his leadership, Bharat Biotech has helped position India as a leader in vaccine production and research. Awards for his contributions to science and entrepreneurship, including honors. Dr. Ella is also a strong advocate for indigenous research and manufacturing.
Whether you get infection or not, you have to come. So I'm here. And I think we're honored. After Shanta Biotech, we were the second one in the country in biotech company. So story of biotech park and incubator concept way back 1994. Many people doesn't know. University of Wisconsin, I said we need to do something in India like that. When I said that, okay, we are ready. So we signed an MOU. I went with laptop, I gave a presentation to him, how biotech park can incubator. I know you want land for biotech park. Simple question. Land, central government cannot give it. Only state government. 4 months, I came to India, started 95 or sometime, and met the Manju Sharma. I said, I'm an alma mater from the agriculture student from the University of Agricultural Science, Bangalore. So I'm not a vaccine guy. I'm not an immunology guy. I'm basically an agriculture graduate. So Agricultural Science, we expect with Secretary, BIRAC, Agriculture Minister, all policies. We put everything in Bangalore. And almost Bharat Biotech, and I set up in 97, 96, 97. 97 set up a biotech, Bharat Biotech. Vimta Lab and me, we both went to Andhra Pradesh Assembly. We gave a talk to the Govt was the Revenue Minister, and once I think Sridhar was the Revenue Secretary. Biotech Park, Devendra Govt was very kind enough. He said he liked it. He said, we want to Charlapalli, we want to propose it. That is where we can try. The history is later. Then Chandrababu Naidu appointed me as an incubator in Hyderabad, Genome Valley. So we proposed the entire Genome Valley cluster should come up and all that. But I was busy with the Bharat of Genome Valley, how 94 started the concept, how we built the whole thing. And thanks to Dr. Baum, 99 onwards, we were the partner on the rotavirus project. So he said, I told him, why is the startups are not happening in the type things? We built that concept with the Bond's mind. And then he said, the DBT cannot do it to private funding. Let's set up a new venture, and they put it, BIRAC, and created the whole structure of startups. And I think, the incubators, what I would envisage, international creates innovation in the world. We have perception. You have perception that multinationals want to create. They have too much cash. When you have too much, and in that process, that is how you build the innovation culture. The problem what we see in India right now, that I am seeing model, which is not good. And I think these real estate models should be, if it goes, you can put a successful model. What is the success? What do you get for that benefit for them? You can create that, not a problem. Okay, sorry. So that model is not right because you're still treating in a startup as the leaseholder or entrepreneur tomorrow. Keep that in mind. If you don't create that policy issues right from the day one, we have So I was there in, Srinivas Reddy, we are there in one of the committees in CSR accounting, $430 billion on science and technology. They took a 5 or 6 strategy. They have taken that position, that 5-6 field we put, $430 billion been put. Their own R&D within the campus of the campus. Within the Peking University or Beijing University or Shanghai, whatever the university, there is a strategic angle. We don't have that. We are only looking at for money about all other things. I think we have to get out of that mindset. Today, money is not important. The country's angle, society angle, how do we compete? I saw thousands of engineering graduates working in some of the coil manufacturing. Total migrations will happen if these don't create our jobs right in this country, not their infrastructure. You can do it. But the problem again, Indian, we are not united. We only united with something. The other fellow, the fellow who is listening, he collects information both sides and he makes a judgment that both are bad. Decision that can be made. What is that my message for the incubators will be, look at the biotech startups. A startup, regulatory is killing this country's science and technology. How the regulatory is killing the startups. I'll give an example, because you are a problem. Or you understand the problem, but you don't want to solve the problem. Because you're worried about the rent, you're worried about accounts funded by BIRAC. So therefore, you're scared of talking anything negative. So when a principal scientific advisor asked, as a startup, we saved the country's foreign exchange at least $10 billion of saving for this country as a startup. What at least minimum $10 billion. Even COVID time, look at the COVID. If the $100 is a vaccine you have to buy, just imagine what would be the cost for the government. Technology, RCGM is controlled. RCGM has got 25, 27 member. Maybe Mrutyunjay was also one day was asked simple question. No. You want 3 GMP lots. You look at the Indian regulation and 3 GMP lots and 3 months stability. Your preclinical toxicology, take a phase 1 trial in US. It all took everything, completed phase 1, everything in less than 7-8 months. Pure protein. You see the logic of thinking of RCGM, thinking 99 when you are doing regular manufacturing production, if some contamination is there from the process, that should be picked up in the animal toxicology. You see the rational thinking of that, which is not right for the country and even for you incubators to succeed. If these startups, if 3 years is a whole game of competition globally, you lost. And some companies, I know at least 8 or 9 companies. So why do you waste your time? 3 years of cash burn for a startup, 50 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs and all that. With that money, they have to pay rent, they have to pay electricity, they have to pay salary, and that. And I think, you all should be united as incubators, should brainstorm first these policy issues. You're losing the future of this country, which is not right, I think, I think my friend is also came, BIRAC also, he also knows about will survive in this country. So I think all incubators should fight for the regulatory policy changes in the country. Whether it is a DBT rent, I can show to the management. That's not worth it, I'm telling you. That's not worth it life. Giving a small money, 1 crore, 2 crores to your person's life, but sacrifice something for the sake of the country. When you have predictable regulatory system in place, take my word, every private equity, every venture capital will flow automatically. Yours is so unpredictable system in the country, I cannot put any more money. At least more than, I want to put it in, the IT, digital health, all those sort of things. We need to change. I think, every manager of that, ask the state government. For incubators, no electricity charges. They're sure to get a free power. I think this is where you need to fight. Indians are very good in clapping. That's a problem. We're all politicians. Your children will not sacrifice. When I was sitting at my dinner table, I was talking so much India culture. Say, Dad, don't tell me too much about India. Then why is India still developing country for last 100 years? Why still time has come for all of us to join together? One goal. How do we do startups to succeed in this country? Very scientific, very rational. We are not asking to compromise on us. You mean to say who will sacrifice the safety of the people in this world? Which startup will do that? That is immediately spoiling somebody's mind. You see how we work together as a country? If I talk, he's a crook. That's how our minds are. We don't look at it society. We should look at it society angle, how the startups can survive. Please think that your children are asking us, industry now, penalizing us. My constitution is there. So that pressure we have right now as industry. 10 ministers are calling, each state is calling, reminding all those things. So don't ask money. You ask intangible things. Tax. Am I right? So you should ask for elimination of that. You ask 15,000 rupees. For men, 13,000 rupees. More discriminated hereafter. So it's good actually. See, because the major in the biotechnology sector, 50% is women. Two things. One, startup gets a subsidized manpower. Otherwise, we are not going to succeed. And we have set up a food park in Bangalore. Food security is one of the major things you're going to see. Inflation is going to drive. Go down, all of the things going to change the game, and the food security is going to be a major game. And India can play major player in the food security. Because we are the only country which got that you should do for next 1 year. Because we don't plan 5 years, please. Always think 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, all bullshit. There's no value now anymore. The science is changing. Artificial intelligence. They say 200,000 protein. With artificial intelligence, they solve the protein structure. You don't need a crystallography now. Recombinant enzyme for a structure for the textile industry or whatever it, you're going to see at different expression 10 grams, you get an aggregation of the protein. So to prevent the aggregation, they put a chapter on policies are required. That is a 3-4 policies. If you work strategically, you are going to do the greatest service to the country. What can be done for the country through startup? Problem taken by a startup. See that the startup solves the problem on a biotechnology program. So I told the minister, I said, set up a skill university so that your biotech policy makes it meaningful for the state. You create a system so that it's destroyed. So let's plan. So he said, I told the minister was convinced. He said, I am ready.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Krishnayala, for such an amazing, wonderful and... No. Sir, we liked your speech. A session catalyzing deep and take over the session.
Friendly Ismail Akbani. Right? So how many of you know Prasad Menon? Have you met Prasad Menon? You know him? Who's going to be? Session manager, am I going to be on the panel speaking? He said, no. There will be panelists who will speak. And I go through the panel list. And I look at, wow. Every panelist on the panel needs no introduction. But wait, is insan ki cruelta wahan bhi nahi khatam hui. He was not happy with that as well. So what he did, that also is gone. And he was planning to shift this session just before lunch to make it more difficult. Thankfully, it did not happen. Right? So now my dilemma is, and I work at a AIC, so he is partly responsible for my current bread and butter. Right? The last on the list, we have a Jogi in the room, a good friend of mine, Joginder Tanikela, who is the CEO of T-Works, terrific president of ISBA, Dr. Suresh Kumar. And he has just sent you a threat message. Biryani usi ko milegi jo tali bajayega.
In some of the most exciting times. And you have just had a very powerful speaker talk about the role of incubators. Valleys of death is when the funding cycle stops from whichever is the grant giving agency aspect of how can incubators be successful, because an incubator is successful with the steps together for us to be successful in the entire ecosystem. Now the good news from my point of view is that you are experiencing the world on a daily basis. It's changing the way the world is experiencing you on a day, according to latest surveys and so on. So there is a gap between startups, the startup ecosystem that is happening, and a deep thing nowadays with all the advances of technology, but also what is DST doing in order to foster innovation?
Norms are required. And we were conceiving that kind of programs to support these startups so that whatever is there, now we have to change the focus in a directional way where the technology went for a brainstorming session in January this year and try to bring all the stake. In 2 days of survey or in incubators which have been supported by DST, it came like around 1,000 incubators, startups in deep tech. All these technology domains will fall in deep tech. But apart from that also, the deep tech startup will be more for trying to see like the research which is more on publication based as of now in the countries. And it is glad to note like till now almost 600 startups are deep. We realize like naturally, as I said, like the research will be the key focus where the outputs are to be commercialized and the products.
It's a very comprehensive answer, Praveenji. And it's very important for all the incubators to know that you have access to these, that everybody should know about, and what are the initiatives that BIRAC has taken to enable sustained development of a
deep tech, biotech startups, how we are actually trying to create those and how to sustain postdoc, etc. And they will be working on technologies that are lying on shelf in different research labs. Deep tech, from the laboratories to the commercialization, we have covered almost all the aspects so far that we are trying to, it has been already launched, and BIRAC is the implement. Having said that, still this scale up is not only the problem of the capacity. Then we don't have a scale-up fund, the early, and try to bring people together. The other connotation of the scale-up, which is very important for deep tech, I was saying we hate people here because we charge the startups, we take rentals. It's true actually. Startups, if we have to promote, important for our country because next level of innovation can happen through that. One example that biotech has is a CRISPR from Jennifer Doudna's lab. She has now 18 startups. Deep tech startups emanating from this technology, and another deep tech technology has come up. We want such technologies to actually come from India, and I think into entrepreneurial mechanism, commercialize, and I think DBT has created mechanisms at each step, or even if it's not put up, we are working with.
I think the important thing that I glean from what you're saying is the in residence type of program, which is seeing which of those could be applied. And then you're combining it with clearly there has to be a path for larger amount, and that is what is going to be driving the deep tech startup ecosystem. Jogin, a very small, minuscule version of what you're doing in T-Works, and that is to get young students interested in tinkering with tech, promote deep tech startups and the sort of manufacturing, prototyping capabilities.
Privileged to be here. It's a very distinguished panel and distinguished audience, and thanks to us is known as India's largest prototyping center set up by the Government of Telangana. And now I have taken some new initiative. So I have myself seen that there are a number of academic institutions and scientific institutions that are developing good technologies, but they are not out. You will find that a number of these institutions have their own lab to market programs where the technology developed is actually taken to market. So it is not only about hardware, but manufacturing could also mean even this is also a physical device. So any physical object which is technology, but that is of course not in our domain right now. But wherever else there is a possibility that peer efforts, which is part of T-Works and which we continue to encourage, we are also expanding beyond work on prototyping. I have seen a number of rural innovators who have wonderful ideas, but they don't know how to take it. Actual manufacturers who have the capabilities, who have the capacity, but they don't.
Related to this, I just wanted to understand, we have, I don't know, several thousand IT manufacturing facilities and so on. Would you think that a model which embraces other institutions within
to us for training on the higher end machines which we have available, and then we can also link them to industry. For example, one of the initiatives I
think that all of us should be aware of, at least in Telangana and other parts of the country, because that is where it is going to have maximum impact. And incubators and startups can also leverage. What role you see public-private partnerships playing in all of this? Because of the research funding comes from private institutions. In India, more than 70% comes from government institutions.
When we were brainstorming in January this year for the deep tech startup infrastructure which is required to be supported from DST, we realized like the infrastructure which is required for the research part is already lot. So we realized like no more much expenditures are required to create new facilities for the research part. Contribute in their R&D and how the R&D team of industry which is required by the market can govern the research by the faculty. GDC, IIT Madras, this cohort-based program where the translation part can happen. So we have started focusing on the creation of the pipeline of the deep tech launched. And 50% is being paid by the GDC center and 50% is paid by DST. And this GDC program will be more focused on the customer discovery part. So the researchers will be just asked to scale testing already has been done, right? And with this kind of...
To be able to attract companies and tell them what is happening in our startup ecosystem and the importance of deep tech, this global compliance requirement, as well as any global collaborations that help you.
Genetic engineered mustard, which has been given some kind of field trials permission. So regulatory compliances has a huge role to play in innovation, and it is different for an enabler. We thought that what we can do. So we have created this is a first hub we do every month actually, and the startups and we are misguided by some consultants etc. to milk money. They will say no, this you do blah blah, all these things, and it may not be required to it, and create a white paper, policy paper, and directly we are in touch with CDSU to give them all the inputs. Very quick to say that government is not doing this then, but when we actually send these policy papers for public review on web
to you, Joginder, India is placing so much in addressing this challenge. If we can quickly address that, because I think many startups that I know, they get...
Educate startups about the manufacturing and MSME policies of the government. Then the second point is that encourage and incubate startups from within them to do more manufacturing. And this can also be done very well by PSU.
Really make impact. So I just want to end on this note. We listen to all the incubators, if you would like to share something. On an encouraging note.
The future is collaboration, as already said, and the PPP is the thing which is going to survive, and that is Kuwait is taking that risk, and they are coming. So government thinks like that due diligence part, the execution part, the quality, the professional standards will be met. 70% investment is expected to come from industry and private partners for the research in the country.
Which cannot be discussed at this forum, but all I'm trying to say is that alternate public participation, BIRAC has a very good experience in attracting crores. You put 5 crores, so 10 crores. So that has not been quantified. That has increased the private participation.
Yeah, thank you. So I would once again thanking the distinguished audience and the panelists.
Great. Thank you so much, Prasad. This was... Okay. I know you guys are all hungry, and we are standing between you and what was... Actually, somebody should have told me. I would have changed my dialogues earlier, but they decided the menu after I've made my own thoughts. But we would like to felicitate the speaker, Technology Park, University of Pune, and the man who is responsible for making me stand over here, Mr. Prasad Menon. Dr. Ramanan sir, please. People at the back still might be excused for not clapping. Great. Now, see, now the third person that's coming, I told you, here's my future bride and my moment of glory. A quick photo with all.
And also for Ismail.
Ismail ji, Ismail, I'll just take a moment to say that I think I know whom I want.
And again, the cruel Prasad told me that you should come back by 2:10, but I'm using my liberty and you can come back by 20 over here. That's number one. Second, all the speakers, guests, dignitaries, idhar jao.
Fireside chat speakers, Sheeni and Renika, so they will be joining us. Yeah, they can.
Please, may I have your attention for 2 minutes? There are food coupons in your bags, the kits that you have received in the morning.